The real Gaza uncle. Yes, I'm ready. So today's topic is basically tips on becoming an electrical contractor. To first become an electrical contractor, you have to become an electrical apprentice, meaning you have to somehow find an electrical contractor that's willing to sponsor you. And once they're willing to sponsor you, then you can now get into the electrical trade, of course, with all your schooling that was done from before, which is very important for kids who are coming out of high school to jump right into the trade, as it's the best time, I believe, for someone to get into the trade right out of high school. So once that electrical contractor has sponsored you and you are now an apprentice, you can basically start working um, towards your goal. Also, be always aware that you need to have some type of document in order to be an apprentice with the ministry. And that's how your electrical contractor will register you as an electrical apprentice. Also, people, please stay tuned to the end of the video as I will be revealing some tips on how to accomplish this. So once you're now an apprentice, you have to complete almost 8,000 hours. I believe in some states it might be different, I'm not sure. Um, I do know in Canada it's around 8 to 9,000 hours, something like that, you have to complete, which is almost a 5 year apprenticeship. So, yes, it's a 5 year apprenticeship, and you should basically get used to working doing a 5 year apprenticeship. Most people, anyways, they have a job. It's about maybe some people will stay at that company for 10 years. So think about it as the same thing. The only thing different is you're doing an apprenticeship. You're being trained by the high, some of the best to ever do the trade. Please like, share, and subscribe as you come in. You can also leave a comment in the comment section. Yes, so you're also being trained by some of the best out there to ever do the trade. You will be trained by I mean, it could be an older person, it could be a younger person. It all depends on that person's knowledge and if they had the gift to train someone, I believe, if they are ready to do that. An apprentice is mostly placed, will always be placed with a journeyman to complete their apprenticeship. Why is that? Because you will be getting some of the best training out there. The knowledge is simply unreal. You can learn a lot from your journeyman. You just need to follow his lead, listen to him correctly, and do the things that he tells you. Always remember that your licensed electrician went through the same process, so he should know what's right from wrong. He will guide you in the right path to becoming an electrician and also a better electrician. You will also get on training and in school, on the job training and in school training, meaning that you have to go to 3 levels of schooling: basic, intermediate, and advanced. Once you do the your first basic, you will go back onto the job. You will continue to learn, and you will then be able, at a certain amount of hours, be able to go back and do your advance. So remember always that you're doing on the job training, in school training. You always have to pass your courses in order to keep going. Then comes the last level of schooling, which is advanced. Some people say that intermediate, the second level, is tougher than the third level. It all depends on the individual. So once you've done these steps and you have passed your basic, intermediate, and advanced, and all your hours of 8,000 are finished, you can now go on to completing your electrical exam. So electrical exam is basically, you're going to be taking your code book inside. You're going to be using, yes, so you'll be using your electrical code book. I don't believe you can take that code book in there. You have to use their code book. I'm guessing the reason is because they don't want people cheating the system. And that's where you'll be doing about 3 to 4 hours of just sitting in that exam and doing your test. It's not easy, but the path is very simple. Just take the steps, put in the work, and you'll reach your goal within 4 years to 5 years. Me, it took me about 4.5 years because I was eager and more determined than ever to get to my goal. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe button as you come in. So once you've passed your electrical license, you have to wait about 3 years before you can write that test to becoming an electrical contractor. Meaning you're still a rookie once you become a licensed journeyman. You're now starting to learn. You haven't touched half of what's out there to learn. So for people who have just become a licensed electrician, there's still a lot of learning to do. Don't think that you know everything, because you don't. You've barely touched the surface of what's to come. So now that you're back on the job site and you're learning, take that knowledge, take that time to learn the code book properly and more efficiently. Read your rules, follow your rules that you should have been following since you were an apprentice. And once you've done that, then a you would have now have a pattern of you're following the code book, and it will make it very easy for you to follow rules and use the rules that you're supposed to use. So now comes the pre-exam before you go to write your electrical contractor license after you've done about 3 years of becoming a licensed electrician. Could be more. I think back then it was 3 for me. People advise you guys to take a pre-exam, which is very important. In that pre-exam, you will learn how to use the code book in and out. You would learn how to search for your keywords. You will get practice questions to search to help you be better using that code book. And also the code book, the electrical contractor license is not just about the code. It's also about business, learning how to deal with customers, learning how to, I will show you what the book looks like. So this is basically the book here. As you can see, it's a pretty big book. It's got everything inside of it. It's a master's electrician exam, master electrical arts, bills and regulations that we follow. So in this book, there's everything from dealing with an apprentice. Sorry, I might be wrong about dealing with an apprentice. It's been a while now. Uh, it's basically about dealing with acts and regulations, dealing with stuff that you're supposed to follow in the code book. It's dealing with health and safety. It's a lot of stuff in there that you have to know in order to pass your electrical contractor license. So that's why I say taking the pre-exam is very wise. It's a very smart decision on everyone when trying to become an electrical contractor. Take this course. It will help you be aware. It will help you learn this, both books. It will help you to be aware of your safety, as there are some questions, some rules in this book about safety also. I believe there's questions, there's topics in here about schooling and stuff like that. So this book is very useful. So there'll be 3 books that you'll be taking into this exam. Basically, you'll be taking your code book, and also this exam, I believe you're allowed to bring your own books. Which is the code book, the masters, and if you are in Ontario and you have an Ontario code book, then you just bring your Ontario code book. If you have a Canadian code book, then you now have to bring the amendments, which is a set of rules that has changed while you've been on the job. So always remember to get the up-to-date amendment rules. In that book, it will show you the rules that was amended, and also it will also show you about service that you need to know and a whole bunch of stuff in this amendment book. Also, if you can see in this book here, I have tabs. Very helpful to, to label your book. Obviously, to label this book, you have to put the keyword that's in there on your label. For instance, you want to go to the lighting section, you don't remember the lighting section, then you label lighting. You cannot put words that are pertaining to the test. It becomes a violation and you can basically be thrown out. And there goes your 3 years of studying to become a master's. I personally like the labeling. The labeling helped me a lot. I knew where to go. I simply studied the book and I remembered where every section was. So I basically will put a label to mark the section of it. That way, when I see that question in the exam, I look for my label and I go directly to that page. And once I'm at that page, now I look at the front and I try to figure out where I have to go. Obviously, remembering the question and the keyword that's in there to search for. So I do this with both books. Actually, all 3 books I did that with. I did that with my code book also, and I did it with my amendment books. As you come in, please like, share, and also you can subscribe to the channel for more content. Also, always remember to go on a full stomach. Never do an exam on an empty stomach, as it will give you mixed feelings and your stomach will not be settled. Therefore, you will be all over the place and you will not be able to concentrate. So having a full meal will settle your mind and your stomach. So the basic so basically what I'm saying is never do an exam on a hungry stomach, as you will get and become more nervous. Also, take a minute per question. As you come in, you can hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Take a minute on every question, as it's very important. You don't want to be, the exam is around 4 hours. You don't want to be in there doing 5 minutes per question, as your time will start to run out on you. So my advice is to take 1 minute per question and skip what you don't know, meaning you basically read that question. If you can't find that answer within 1 minute, then you go right over to the next question, as this next question might be very easy for you and it's marks that you can tick off and keep going instead of wasting your time on one question. where you could have at least answered 4 more questions within that 5 minutes. So you will skip that, move on. You will keep moving throughout your exam, answering your questions. And once you get to the end, you now go back to those to that question that you didn't know. You can attempt to answer the question again. If you find that you still don't know that question, you still don't have the answer for it, move on to the next question and keep going. As this will free up your brains and start to make you remember your stuff. So the key here for this skip method is to try and answer as much questions that you know and leave about 20 to 30 minutes at the end to go over questions that was not answered and attempt to get them right. As you come in, you can hit the like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned to my next content. So this method is called the skip it method, which I learned through doing my pre-exam. It helps you to become a better electrician, and also every question in your test will have a keyword. So please look for these keywords that's in the questions. They are in there. You to you just have to figure out what the keyword is, and then you go from there. These keywords sometimes can be found in your index, which will be at the front of the code book or the back of the code book. You search these keywords, it will lead you towards the proper code rule to use pertaining to that question. So some people think that doing a pre-exam is not worth the time. For me, I think it's worth the time. I advise people to do that at pre-exam. Very knowledgeable. You can learn a lot. The instructor is also very knowledgeable. He would guide you towards your goal. So always remember to pay attention to your instructor. Becoming a master electrical contractor, you have now stepped it up to the path of owning your business. But I'm not really going to get into this. I'll leave it for another topic. But becoming a master's, which we are labeled as, is someone who has done the course, who has taken the exam, and who has the knowledge of performing the work on their own and following the rules that are applied to it. Not everyone will reach that goal, but you can if you stay on track. It's very simple. It was very, it wasn't simple for me at the beginning to get to my master's, but I learned the book inside out. I studied the book inside out. I knew where to go to once I reached that exam. I did that skip it method to perfection. For me, it was about 30 seconds per question that I skipped, and I kept going. And I believe it's about 100 and something questions, which I was able to read over that entire test about 10 times. So that's how fast I was going inside of that pre-exam, inside of that master's license exam. 30 seconds per question I did, and I worked it to perfection. Meaning when it came to the end, with about 20 minutes to go, I had about 20 questions to answer, which gave me about 30 seconds a question. And I kept going and going and going. And I kept reading over what I didn't know. I skipped. I kept going. I used the method that I was taught. It helped me. It guided me. It helped me achieve my goal. So the goal is there, people. It's there to grab. You just have to follow the steps and the tips. And also, if you have a comment, if you want to leave a comment in the comment section, you can. You can also subscribe to the channel for more content. Hit the notification button to stay tuned on my latest content. And that is the topic of today. So I will see you guys on the next video, and hold it down, Trill.